I believe we've got to be committed to a never-ending process of change, continuous improvement in all of our policing efforts.
The governor needs to enter into multiple conversations with communities that he frankly just does not know. He frankly does not understand. He frankly does not get.
Criminal justice reform advocates not holding back, clearly not pleased with the governor. Well, News 4's Caresse Jackman spoke with one advocate about the governor's message and joins us live tonight. Caresse, why do they believe the governor's plan falls short?
Well, Tom, it's many things, but to just point it out, he says that they just feel like he is out of touch in a number of ways. In a press conference Thursday surrounded by top law enforcement leaders, Governor Bill Lee announced he's tackling police policy reform.
I believe we've got to be committed to a never-ending process of change, continuous improvement in all of our policing efforts. And that will include engaging in a greater way with communities.
The governor is calling on agencies in the state to review their use of force. He wants to ensure chokeholds are not used as a restraining technique. Each department will also have 60 days to update their policies, and he's mandating a database track police officers who've lost their licenses and certificates because of their bad behavior. When it comes to training, Governor Lee wants the minimum training to go from 400 hours to 488, and 16 hours of training related to de-escalation techniques. That includes training on protest response. The move comes after weeks of civil unrest and calls for defunding law enforcement across the nation after the death of George Floyd.
I want to be clear in my deep appreciation and commitment to the role of law enforcement in our communities. There is a vast difference between meaningful reform and meaningless attempts to defund the police or any other unrealistic approach that misses the mark on both advancing justice and strengthening interaction with the communities that they serve.
When Governor Lee dismisses issues as meaningless, how does he know?
Dr. Sekou Franklin is a member of the Community Oversight Now Coalition. He says he was not impressed with Governor Lee's speech because it lacks perspective from the community it impacts the most.
The governor does not understand Black folks. The governor may understand Black folks who speak the governor's talking points, but the governor does not understand Black folks who come from overly policed communities in which their families are affected daily by the trauma of over-policing and the trauma of incarceration.
Dr. Franklin says the governor should also revisit legislation that narrows the reach of community oversight boards and feels the 60-day deadline is unrealistic.
There's a whole ecosystem that effectively is tied to heavy-duty policing. And how do you enforce a sheriff in East Tennessee, or how do you enforce a police department in West Tennessee to do exactly what you're trying to do, say, in 60 days with the kind of robust oversight that one is talking about?
Now, Dr. Franklin also says that the governor should also address what's oftentimes the big elephant in the room, and that is systemic racism when it comes to policing and when it also comes to criminal justice as a whole. Just what solutions he has, we'll have that for you coming up tonight on News 4 at 6. Back to you, Tom.